Welcome to Ease with me, Namita Purohit. Ease with me is a podcast dedicated to bring ease, that is emotional awareness, spirituality, and excellence to your life. Join Ease programs if you're looking to get coaching for yourself or if you want to become a life coach yourself. I'm your host, Namita Purohit. I'm a professional life coach. I base my Ease practice on Eastern wisdom and Western psychology. And today, we're going to be discussing the topic of reactive abuse and how narcissists or toxic people set their victims up for it. Reactive abuse is a form of manipulation where the narcissist provokes their victim into reacting emotionally and aggressively, and then, very intelligently, uses that reaction to abuse them, control them, and make them lose their sense of worth and confidence. This discussion has 5 parts. A client story to understand how reactive abuse works. Definition of reactive abuse again in a little more detail. 5 reasons why do people become susceptible to reactive abuse. Examples from scriptures. And 4 long-term and 4 in-the-moment strategies to overcome this. So let's start with the client story now. One of my clients, her husband would keep changing things on her without informing her, and also he would never show up when he was needed to perform his role in the relationship and would always blame her for it. They would make a plan for an outing and then he would cancel it without telling her. He would just invite people home for dinner and she would not know until 30 minutes before the guests were there. He would just love to put her in that sense of disarray. He would get tickets for a movie and then say he doesn't want to go or not show up at the predestined time. He would tell her to wait for him for a Diwali festival celebration at home, puja at home, or a holy puja or a Karwa Chauth puja, and he would not show up, not do his role as a man of the house. He would not be there for her when she was sick. Once she came back early from work because she was very sick and she thought she could rest it out, but she started feeling really terrible. And she called him to see if he could come and take her to the doctor. And he said he was in a conference, and he made sure that he told her that, oh, I'm in a conference, but it's not a very important one. But I'm really enjoying it here. So I just want to hang around here. And he could say that to her when she was really sick. And she's not one of those demanding wives, and she really just wanted him to come home and take her to the doctor. And he just didn't want to do that, and he could tell her that, no, I'm in something that's not important, but I'm enjoying myself. At another time, her car broke down while she was gone for an errand about 20 miles from home. She called him as he was at home to find, to figure out how does she come back and, what is the way out. And he refused to take the neighbor's car to come and pick her up as her car was getting towed so that she could be picked up and gotten back home because public transport in the US isn't really good. And he said he was too tired and he just wanted to relax at home. So my client would get upset in each of these situations. She would get upset and hold her husband accountable just like any other normal human being would. But he, being abnormal, would never accept responsibility, never acknowledge the harm he had done, nor ever empathize with how he abandoned her each time. He would deflect the blame back on her and provoke her into reacting emotionally, saying she was too demanding, or her tone of voice was questioning, or she was screaming, or she had no right to be angry or no right to be upset as it wasn't such a big deal. And my client would get provoked because she felt she was not being understood. And she would get even more upset and angry. And she would try her best to make herself heard. But that's what the narcissist truly enjoyed, where she would be hankering for him to understand her, and he would not give her what she wanted, and so that he could have her wrapped around her finger and she could just be always around him, looking for that, taking care of her need, looking for that approval, looking for that validation. And then she would react with even greater intensity. She would probably get angry with him. She would speak even more loudly or say something hurtful. And then he would immediately mellow down, calm down, and he would act like a victim who was being screamed at and scolded at. This, my friends, is reactive abuse, where the victim reacts to a slight and then tries to set a boundary and holds the person accountable. However, the abuser neglects the victim's feelings completely and provokes their victim into reacting emotionally or aggressively. And then the aggressor, the narcissist, the abuser, the toxic person, uses that reaction to further control and abuse them. See, look at how you reacted that day. Look at how you're reacting right now. You're so difficult to be with. Oh my God, I have to be on eggshells all the time while dealing with you. So the abuser has mastered the art of completely ignoring the original abuse, but abusing the victim for their reaction on it. And this is reactive abuse. Now, why do they do that? So that they can deflect the blame back to the victim for being too harsh and emotional, so that they don't have to take any responsibility for their original abuse or inconsiderate action. Narcissists are experts at pushing people's buttons and exploiting their vulnerabilities. And it can be incredibly difficult to not take the bait and react. Also, gradually, the victims can lose their confidence in their own understanding of reality because of being gaslighted so many times about the original offense. So over time, my client started doubting her thinking and her reactions. She became timid and confused, blaming herself each time she went through more and more such abandonments, breaking of promises, breaking of the norms of a husband-wife relationship. She was feeling all the emotions inside, but she felt that those emotions weren't the right ones because her reaction was always wrong, right? That's what the narcissist convinced her of. And she kept judging herself and suppressing herself, trying to think positive, speak in a better way, express her needs in a better way. However, nothing worked. Her needs still remained unmet, and she was continually gaslighted for expressing them. And reactive abuse. Over time, she started getting very irritable, having suppressed so many of her emotions. And then she started getting really angry and upset when those patterns were repeated in similar incidents. And every time she reacted, he blamed her more and more for being so angry and upset all the time that she felt she was walking on eggshells. She started losing faith in her spiritual practices, withdrawing from any communication with him, till she broke down completely, lost all of her bearings, and started behaving in ways that were unrecognizable to her. She also became so confused about her reactions that she started withdrawing from social situations, as she felt she did not know how to communicate because of constantly being abused of her reaction to the abuse. She was always told, you don't know how to communicate, you have all the wrong thoughts. And so she just started withdrawing from social situations, fearing them, thinking that, she may say something and that may cause a fight, but normal people don't do that. Now, this is not just that men do this to women and only men are narcissistic and women are not, are the victims. It's just that women have a nature of opening up and asking for help and signing up for coaching. And that's why we have more examples of female clients. But we did have one male client as well who was brave enough to open up and ask for help. And his wife kept him on his toes by constantly guilting him about not providing enough, not taking them out enough, not going on for vacations enough, not giving her as many gifts, not, helping the kids with their homework, helping them with their studies, not participating in the PTA meetings, just not being available, just not helping the kids get ready for school in the morning, not dropping them to school in the morning, and so many more things. While all the time she was a stay-at-home mom, and the man did his work outside and also did his job of teaching the children and so many other things. But because he was vulnerable to any criticism, and because he wanted to feel that if he's being criticized, that means he's really wrong, he lost all the confidence in himself, and he just believed whatever she said. And for the little times whenever he reacted, believing in his own reality, and then she gaslighted him, he started losing faith in his own ability, completely giving in to that reactive abuse that she held him accountable for. Oh, I'm a woman. How could you say that to me? I'm your wife. You're supposed to be nice to me. You're supposed to protect me. And he would start believing all of that because his own sense of self was weak. And he fell a victim to reactive abuse himself. Now, the question to ask is, what are some of the possible reasons that one becomes susceptible to such abuse? And we're going to talk about 5 reasons here. One of the scenarios that makes one susceptible to reactive abuse is when they have a history of being emotionally neglected or invalidated. And these individuals may have a deep-seated need for validation and acceptance, and the narcissist can exploit that need by withholding validation and then offering it as a reward for certain behavior. Number two, another vulnerability that can make someone susceptible to reactive abuse is a lack of healthy boundaries. Narcissists often test boundaries to see what they can get away with, and if someone doesn't have strong boundaries in place, they may find themselves being taken advantage of. Number three, the victim also takes the bait when they do not have enough confidence in their own abilities, in their own standing, in their own sense of self. Number four, or the victim feels that the relationship is everything, and without that, they are nothing, and therefore they must do everything so that they are seen in the right light. And they take responsibility for stuff that's truly not stuff that they need to take responsibility for. And number five is a misunderstanding of what culture is, what dharma is, what spirituality is, along with a very false understanding of tolerance. The Vedic culture, Sanatana Dharma, is of speaking our truth in a pleasant way, in a non-violent way. And there are many examples of that. And we also have the culture, as we see in the scriptures, of people who are hearing someone assert themselves and speaking their truth, that the others, the listeners, are absorbing that, respecting that, and giving a proper place for that. Number one, in the Ramayana, Goddess Sita Devi, tells Lord Ram to not have weapons in their kutir during their vanaprastha, and she says, what's the need for that? And she's pretty strong about it in what she conveys. Lord Ram absorbs all of that like a very self-loving, self-confident partner and holds his ground about why he should, because that's his role of protecting his wife, and being a Kshatriya also protecting all those around them. Draupadi in the Mahabharat, in many scenarios, speaks assertively to the Pandavas about, especially there's one in which they're anxious about, how will they generate wealth or something like that. And she is very assertive that, hey, we have to be active in our work, and only then we can have enough for ourselves. And she also contributes a lot in, palace strategy, war strategy. She holds all those great men accountable, her husbands accountable. And they, because they are very self-confident husbands and still open to suggestion and open to learning, they're able to absorb that from her. The Pandavas assert themselves as well, their needs to the Kauravas, and do not suppress themselves in the name of culture and fake tolerance. They do it with grace. They do it with humility. They do it with elegance, but they do it nevertheless. So it is important to be assertive and also expect reciprocity in relationships. Dhruv Maharaj, as a 5-year-old boy, speaks assertively when Narad Muni asks him to give up his anger and go back to his playful ways. And Dhruv Maharaj assertively speaks, no, I can't follow what you're saying. I'm a Kshatriya and this is what I'm going to do. So tell me a path that I can follow. And he follows what Narad Muni tells him to do. So these are things that we want to be aware of, that what are some of the reasons we become susceptible to such abuse. And I double down on the culture aspect, where sometimes we confuse ourselves culturally that we should not express ourselves and we should suppress and we should tolerate. No, we can express ourselves in a pleasing, non-violent way, and we have every right to do that. Now, what can people caught up in reactive abuse do? So I'm going to share 4 in-the-moment strategies with you now and 4 long-term work strategies with you. Now, in-the-moment strategies, number 1, for not taking the bait of the narcissist's manipulation, includes practicing self-awareness, like what happens in my body when I see somebody doing reactive abuse. Practicing that mindfulness and self-regulation, becoming more and more about what happens in your body when there is reactive abuse, and then when you're more tuned to your body, you're able to understand, hey, there's reactive abuse happening and I might, take this bait, so let me walk away from this for some time. Yes. Number 2 in the moment strategy is it's important to recognize when the narcissist is trying to provoke a reaction. You have to understand their pattern, their body language, their expressions, and to take a step back and assess the situation before responding. As a general rule, withdraw when threatened that you can't be assertive, when you know you won't be able to be assertive, don't respond. Calm yourself down, get clarity, and then revisit the discussion again. Now, number 3 is about what statements to use. So when you revisit the discussion again, use I statements. For example, instead of accusing the narcissist of manipulating you, which of course they are doing, but it's only going to trigger them further and not give you the result you want, you can say, I feel like you're trying to provoke me, and calmly state how you want to proceed in this discussion. Using assertive communication, setting clear boundaries can also help you in these situations. Number 4 is to also learn how to be compassionate to yourself. When you're a victim of narcissistic reactive abuse, when you're facing that in a relationship where the person who's most important to you is completely negating your personhood, negating your feelings, negating your reality, not taking responsibility for their part in the relationship, that can be a very painful thing to be in. And also being compassionate to yourself if you're unable to see through it yet or in the future. Learning how to be there for yourself with love and compassion. Long-term work. To work on your vulnerabilities and weaknesses that make you susceptible to reactive abuse is point number 1, because these short-term strategies do not hold unless you've done the inner work to become super solid. And therefore, we need these long-term strategies to do the inner work and become solid. So number 1 was to work on those vulnerabilities and weaknesses that make you susceptible. And for that, you need to address past traumas or past relationship negative patterns that have impacted you. Number 2 is also getting help. Getting life coaching, especially with Ease Life Coaching. Our coaches are experienced in helping so many of our clients in overcoming all the breakdown that they have suffered because of narcissistic abuse. So getting life coaching for yourself, Ease Life Coaching for yourself, can be a great way to work on these issues and develop the skills and tools needed to set and maintain healthy boundaries and have a solid sense of self. Number 3, practicing regular yoga techniques and keeping the body's doshas of Vata, Pitta and Kapha in as much balance as possible, and also keeping your energy clean, releasing energy from your chakras and all that toxic emotions of so many different relationships, so many different samskaras, past traumas that may be sitting inside, and that needs guided help that Ease coaches can provide. Number 4, having a solid goal for yourself in line with your nature, within the framework of your duties, and taking small steps to reach your goal. Now, when you take those small baby steps and you become successful in that one small baby step, you get confident to take the next one and the next one. And so many such small successes help you feel capable and help you build your confidence in yourself again. So these are some of the long-term work strategies that you need to work upon in order to build your confidence so that you don't give in to reactive abuse. At Ease Life Coaching, we teach our clients how to recognize these signs of toxic relationships, understand and heal their own vulnerabilities so that they are no longer susceptible to the manipulative tendencies of a narcissist. In many cases, we also have to help our clients develop an adult response. A lot of times they give in to reactive abuse because they're still reacting from their child's place of helplessness that, oh my God, unless this person really believes me, I really have no way, no place to go. And then we start screaming for attention and we feel so helpless when we don't get that validation. But as an adult, we want to act from that confident place that, okay, I'm not getting the validation I need right now, and that's painful. I would have loved for my partner to truly understand their own behavior, but it's not the end of the world and I can take care of myself. So it's easier said than done. And we do take our clients and we help them in achieving these things. Now, one very important thing to consider is that while all of this is very painful, being in narcissistic abuse is very painful and difficult, only those people who take responsibility for their situation, getting better, for them feeling better and taking charge of their life and finally taking massive action in their life, becoming healed and whole, grow and glow, can truly meet success. But those who remain in helplessness, feeling like victims, continue feeling that way, because truly changing the narcissist's behavior is not in our control. I've done various podcasts on that. What's in our control is our protecting ourselves, taking care of our own vulnerabilities, healing ourselves, and growing. So for those of you who are that one who takes charge of themselves, are most welcome to join our ease coaching programs, because our programs are truly beneficial to those. We are unable to make a great impact with those who don't take responsibility for themselves. We look forward to seeing you inside. We look forward to welcoming you. We look forward to serving you in your growth journey. A small investment can make a massive change in how you think, how you feel, and what you make out of your life, and how you start living to your full potential. You can sign up. You can know more about my Ease Life Coaching programs by going to my website, www.namitapurohit.com, or at the link in the description below, bit.ly/easeacademy. Looking to connect with you more over these podcasts, and also seeing you inside my programs. I'm all excited to welcome you. Me and my team Ease Coaches are all excited to welcome you and serve you to live your best life. Also, do not forget to subscribe to this channel and also click the bell icon to get notifications for more videos on this topic.